Johannesburg is the largest city in South Africa. It is the provincial capital of Gauteng, which is the wealthiest province in South Africa. The city is one of the 50 largest urban agglomerations in the world, and is also the world's largest city not situated on a river, lake, or coastline. The city was named and established in 1886 following the discovery of gold on what had been a farm. The name is attributed to one or all of three men involved in the establishment of the city. In 10 years, the population was 100,000 inhabitants. While Johannesburg is not one of South Africa's three capital cities, it is the seat of the Constitutional Court, which has the final word on interpretation of South Africa's constitution as well as with issues in connection with constitutional matters. The city is the source of a large-scale gold and diamond trade, due to its location on the mineral-rich Witwatersrand range of hills. In 2011, the population of the city of Johannesburg was 4,434,827, making it the largest city in South Africa. In the same year, the population of Greater Johannesburg metropolitan area was 7,860,781. Some view the area surrounding the city of Johannesburg yet more broadly than the metropolitan area, adding eCuahulina, West Rand and Lenasia. That larger area had a population of 10,267,700 in 2007. The land area of the municipal city, 1,645 square kilometers, is large in comparison with those of other major cities, resulting in a moderate population density of 2,364 per square kilometers. A separate city from the late 1970s until the 1990s, Soweto is now part of Johannesburg. Originally an acronym for Southwestern Townships, Soweto originated as a collection of settlements on the outskirts of Johannesburg, populated mostly by native African workers from the gold mining industry. Soweto, although eventually incorporated into Johannesburg, had been separated as a residential area for blacks, who were not permitted to live in Johannesburg proper. Lenasia is predominantly populated by English-speaking South Africans of Indian descent. Etymology. Controversy surrounds the origin of the name, as there were any number of people with the name of Johannes, who were involved in the early history of the city. Among them are the principal clerk attached to the office of the Surveyor General, Johannes Risiek, Christian Johannes Joubert, member of the Volksraad and the Republic's chief of mining, and Stephanus Johannes Paulus Paul Kruger, President of the South African Republic 1883 to 1900. Johannes Meyer, the first government official in the area, is another possibility. Precise records for the choice of name were lost. Risiek and Joubert were members of a delegation sent to England to attain mining rights for the area. Joubert had a park in the city named after him, and Risiek Street is today a main street where the historically important and dilapidated post office, since burnt out, and the city hall are located. History. The region surrounding Johannesburg was originally inhabited by San people. By the 13th century, groups of Bantu-speaking people started moving southwards from Central Africa and encroached on the indigenous San population. By the mid-18th century, the broader region was largely settled by various Sotho-Tswana communities, whose villages, towns, chiefdoms and kingdoms stretched from what is now Botswana in the west, to present-day Lesotho in the south, to the present-day Pedi areas of the northern Transvaal. More specifically, the stone-walled ruins of Sotho-Tswana towns and villages are scattered around the parts of the former Transvaal in which Johannesburg is situated. The Sotho-Tswana practiced farming, raised cattle, sheep and goats, and extensively mined and smelted copper, iron and tin. Moreover, from the early 1960s until his retirement, Professor Revile Mason, of the University of the Witwatersrand, explored and documented many late Iron Age archaeological sites throughout the Johannesburg area. dating from between the 12th century and 18th century, and many of these sites contained the ruins of Mr.Jhosimar mines and iron smelting furnaces, suggesting that the area was being exploited for its mineral wealth before the arrival of Europeans or the discovery of gold. The most prominent site within Johannesburg is Melville Koppies, which contained an iron smelting furnace. Many Mr.Jhosimar towns and villages in the areas around Johannesburg were destroyed and their people driven away during the wars emanating from Zululand during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. And as a result, an offshoot of the Zulu kingdom, the Ndebele, set up a kingdom to the northwest of Johannesburg around modern-day Rustenburg. The Dutch-speaking Voortrekkers arrived in the early 19th century, driving away the Matabele with the help of Mr.Jhosimar allies, establishing settlements around Rustenburg and Pretoria in the early 1830s, and claiming sovereignty over what would become Johannesburg as part of the South African Republic. Gold rush and naming of the city. The main Witwatersrand gold reef was discovered in June 1884 on the farm Vogelstruisfontein by Jan Gerrit C. Bantjes. That triggered the Witwatersrand gold rush and the start of Johannesburg in 1886. The discovery of gold rapidly attracted people to the area, making necessary a name and governmental organization for the area. Johan and Johannes were common male names among the Dutch of that time, two men involved in surveying the area for the best location of the city. Christian Johannes Joubert and Johan Rissik are considered the source of the name by some. Johannes Meyer, the first government official in the area, is another possibility. Precise records for the choice of name were lost. Within 10 years, the city of Johannesburg included 100,000 people. In September 1884, the Strooben brothers discovered the Confidence Reef on the farm Wilgespruit near present-day Roodepoort, which further boosted excitement over gold prospects. The first gold to be crushed on the Witwatersrand was the gold-bearing rock from the Bantjes mine, crushed using the Strooben brothers' stamp machine. Also, news of the discovery soon reached Kimberley, and directors Cecil Rhodes with Sir Joseph Robinson rode up to investigate rumours for themselves. They were guided to the Bantjes camp with its tents strung out over several kilometres and stayed with Bantjes for 2 nights. In 1884 they purchased the first pure refined gold from Bantjes for £3,000. Incidentally, Bantjes had since 1881 been operating the Kromdraai gold mine in the cradle of humankind together with his partner Johannes Stephanus Minnaar, where they first discovered gold in 1881, and which also offered another kind of discovery, the early ancestors of all mankind. Some report Australian George Harrison as the first to make a claim for gold in the area that became Johannesburg, as he found gold on a farm in July 1886. He did not stay in the area. Gold was earlier discovered some 400 kilometers to the east of present-day Johannesburg, in Barberton. Gold prospectors soon discovered the richer gold reefs of the Witwatersrand offered by Bantjes. The original miners' camp, under the informal leadership of Colonel Ignatius Ferreira, was located in the Fordsburg Dip, possibly because water was available there, and because of the site's proximity to the diggings. Following upon the establishment of Johannesburg, the area was taken over by the government, who had it surveyed and named it Ferreira's Township, today the suburb of Ferreirasdorp. The first settlement at Ferreira's camp was established as a tented camp, and which soon reached a population of 3,000 by 1887. The government took over the Ferreira's camp, surveyed it and named it as Ferreira's Township. By 1896, Johannesburg was established as a city of over 100,000 inhabitants, one of the fastest growth cities ever. Rapid growth. Jameson Raid and the Second Boer War. Like many late 19th century mining towns, Johannesburg was a rough and disorganized place, populated by white miners from all continents. African tribesmen recruited to perform unskilled mine work. African women beer brewers who cooked for and sold beer to the black migrant workers, a very large number of European prostitutes, gangsters, impoverished Afrikaners, tradesmen, and Zulu Amawasha, Zulu men who surprisingly dominated laundry work. As the value of control of the land increased, tensions developed between the Boer government in Pretoria and the British, culminating in the Jameson Raid that ended in fiasco at Dornkop in January 1896 and the Second Boer War that saw British forces under Lord William occupy the city on 30 May 1900 after a series of battles to the south of its then limits. Fighting took place at the Gatsrand Pass on 27 May, north of Andwicksrust, today's Mansfield, Eldorado Park and Naturena, the next day, culminating in a mass infantry attack on what is now the Waterworks Ridge in Kiawalo and Senon on 29 May. During the war, many African mine workers left Johannesburg, creating a labor shortage, which the mines ameliorated by bringing in laborers from China, especially southern China. After the war, they were replaced by black workers, but many Chinese stayed on, creating Johannesburg's Chinese community, which during the apartheid era, was not legally classified as Asian, but as colored. The population in 1904 was 155,642, of whom 83,363 were whites. Post-Union history. Major building developments took place in the 1930s, after South Africa went off the gold standard. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, Hillbrow went high-rise. In the 1950s and early 1960s, the apartheid government constructed the massive agglomeration of townships that became known as Soweto. New freeways encouraged massive suburban sprawl to the north of the city. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, tower blocks filled the skyline of the central business district. The central area of the city underwent something of a decline in the 1980s and 1990s. Due to the high crime rate and when property speculators directed large amounts of capital into suburban shopping malls, decentralized office parks, and entertainment centers. Sandton City was opened in 1973, followed by Rosebank Mall in 1976, and Eastgate in 1979. On 12 May 2008, a series of riots started in the township of Alexandra, in the northeastern part of Johannesburg, when locals attacked migrants from Mozambique, Malawi and Zimbabwe, killing 2 people, and injuring 40 others. These riots sparked the xenophobic attacks of 2008. A completely refurbished Soccer City Stadium in Johannesburg hosted the 2010 FIFA World Cup final. Geography. Johannesburg is located in the Eastern Plateau area of South Africa known as the High Veld, at an elevation of 1,753 meters. The former CBD is located on the south side of the prominent ridge called the Witwatersrand, and the terrain falls to the north and south. By and large, the Witwatersrand marks the watershed between the Limpopo and Vaal rivers, as the northern part of the city is drained by the Duxket River while the southern part of the city, including most of the CBD, is drained by the Klip River. The north and west of the city has undulating hills while the eastern parts are flatter. Johannesburg may not be built on a river or harbour, but its streams contribute to 2 of southern Africa's mightiest rivers, the Limpopo and the Orange. Most of the springs from which many of these streams emanate are now covered in concrete and canalized, accounting for the fact that the names of early farms in the area often end with fontein, meaning spring, in Afrikaans. Bramfontein, Rietfontein, Zevenfontein, Doornfontein, Zandfontein and Randjesfontein are some examples. When the first white settlers reached the area that is now Johannesburg, they noticed the glistening rocks on the ridges, running with trickles of water, fed by the streams, giving the area its name of the Witwatersrand, the Ridge of White Waters. Another explanation is that the whiteness comes from the quartzite rock, which has a particular sheen to it after rain. Climate. Johannesburg is situated on the Highveld Plateau, and has a subtropical highland climate. The city enjoys a sunny climate, with the summer months characterized by hot days followed by afternoon thunder showers and cool evenings, and the winter months by dry, sunny days followed by cold nights. Temperatures in Johannesburg are usually fairly mild due to the city's high elevation, with an average maximum daytime temperature in January of 25.6 degrees Celsius, dropping to an average maximum of around 16 degrees Celsius in June. The UV index for Johannesburg in summers is extreme, often reaching 14 to 16 due to the high elevation and proximity to the equator. Winter is the sunniest time of the year, with mild days and cool nights, dropping to 4.1 degrees Celsius in June and July. The temperature occasionally drops to below freezing at night, causing frost. In the 21st century, there has been light sleet in 2006, as well as snow proper on the 27th of June 2007 in the southern suburbs, and the 7th of August 2012. Regular cold fronts pass over in winter, bringing very cold southerly winds but usually clear skies. The annual average rainfall is 713 millimeters, which is mostly concentrated in the summer months. Infrequent showers occur through the course of the winter months. The lowest nighttime minimum temperature ever recorded in Johannesburg is -8.2 degrees Celsius, on the 13th of June 1979. The lowest daytime maximum temperature recorded is 1.5 degrees Celsius, on the 19th of June 1964. Cityscape. The city is often described as Africa's economic powerhouse, and contentiously as a modern and prosperous African city. Due to its many different central districts, Johannesburg would fall under the multiple nuclei model in human geography terms. It is the hub of South Africa's commercial, financial, industrial, and mining undertakings. Johannesburg is part of a larger urban region. It is closely linked with several other satellite towns. Randburg and Sandton form part of the northern area. The east and west ridges spread out from central Johannesburg. The central business district covers an area of 6 square kilometers. It consists of closely packed skyscrapers such as the Carlton Centre, Marble Towers, Trust Bank Building, Pont City Apartments, Southern Life Centre and 11 Diagonal Street. The skyline of Johannesburg's central business district is seen from the observatory of the Carlton Centre, the skyline of Hillbrow, the Southern Life Centre, the Quadra Egoli Hotel, Absa Bank. Architecture. Johannesburg is home to some of Africa's tallest structures, such as the Sentech Tower, Hillbrow Tower, the Carlton Centre and Pont City Apartments. The Johannesburg city skyline has most of the tallest buildings on the continent and contains most international organizations such as IBM, Absa, BHP Billiton, Willis Group, First National Bank, Nedbank and Standard Bank. Many of the city's older buildings have been pulled down and more modern ones built in their place. North of the CBD is Hillbrow, the most densely populated residential area in southern Africa. Northwest of the CBD is Braamfontein, a secondary CBD housing many offices and business premises. The CBD is predominated by 4 styles of architecture, being Victorian Colonial, Edwardian Baroque, Art Deco and Modernism. Parks and gardens. Parks and gardens in Johannesburg are maintained by Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo. City Parks is also responsible for planting the city's many green trees, making Johannesburg one of the greenest cities in the world. It has been estimated that there are 6 million trees in the city, 1.2 million on pavements and sidewalks, and a further 4.8 million in private gardens. City Parks continues to invest in planting trees, particularly those previously disadvantaged areas of Johannesburg which were not positive beneficiaries of apartheid. Johannesburg's urban planning. Johannesburg Botanical Garden, located in the suburb of Emmarentia, is a popular recreational park. Residential areas. Johannesburg's residential areas range from luxurious, wooded suburbs, to shanty towns and squatter settlements. Alexandra, a township northeast of the city centre, is home to about 125,000 people. It was established by workers who migrated from rural areas in the late 1930s. Since the 1980s, large numbers of people have moved to Johannesburg in search of work. A lack of housing in the city has forced many to set up squatter settlements on the outskirts of the city. Most of these communities lack electricity and running water, and residents live in makeshift shacks made of scrap metal, board and other discarded materials. In some settlements, such as Fowler Park south of Johannesburg, town planners have attempted to build streets and provide residents with basic needs. Due to the high crime rate, many homes in the middle and upper-class areas are often gated behind high secured walls or fences.